Thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silkyfeather, and you can call me Silky. We're going to jump right into the book. I'm a little bit late tonight. Sorry about that. I had a lot going on. So let's hit it on.
Conclusion. While growing cannabis today may be a very different process than it was 5,000 years ago, the end result is the same. When you undertake the cultivation of cannabis, you are embarking on not only a profitable business venture, but a time-honored tradition that has been with humanity for generations upon generations. Whether you are growing an empire of green or a closet operation that keeps you supplied, the cultivation and enjoyment of cannabis, or the money it brings, can be a very rewarding experience. Never before has the time been better. With the United States on the brink of enabling legislation that will make those who are poised to leverage the expansive and untapped market rich, the incentive for individual farmers, entrepreneurs, and aficionados to learn more about the wonderful world of growing cannabis is increasingly real. The next step is to take your cannabis cultivation to the next level and pick up our advanced guide, Growing Marijuana Mastery. Inside, you will learn how to optimize your yield and squeeze every last drop of productivity and efficiency out of your crop. Whether for profit or for pleasure, you will love the more potent and dense buds that you can reliably produce with our in-depth and comprehensive look at the secrets of advanced growing, including proven methods and expert insight. Don't hesitate. Better buds are within your reach. We really hope that the information provided in this book was valuable to you, and that it met or exceeded your expectations. Customer service is extremely important to us, so if for any reason you are not satisfied with your purchase, have comments and or feedback you would like to share directly with us, please send us an email at info@clydebankmedia.com. Appendix. Symptoms of common nutrient deficiencies. Calcium. A calcium deficiency is evidenced by small brown spots or dead areas in the leaves. The entire leaf structure also becomes crinkly and brittle to the touch. The easiest and earliest indicator of a calcium deficiency is abnormal smallness in new growth. New growth may also exhibit shape distortion and curled tips. Calcium deficiency is easily corrected with lime or a store-bought calcium supplement, most often accompanied with iron and magnesium. As always, be sure that the soil pH is adequate. Otherwise, no matter the corrective measure you implement, the roots will not be able to absorb the soil supplement. Boron. Boron deficiencies can be identified by yellow-colored new growth, abnormally heavy or thick growth tips, and rough or hollow stems. New growth may look scorched or burnt, and this can be distinguished from heat or light damage by comparing the plant in question to those around it with similar lighting conditions. In order to correct a deficiency of boron, ensure that your plants are adequately watered, that they have adequate nitrogen and potassium, and that the pH level of the soil is correct. Copper. A copper deficiency is demonstrated by unusual coloring and curling back of a plant's leaves. Newer leaves may appear to be twisted and dark-colored, while older leaves appear lighter or yellowish. In the case of a copper deficiency, it is best to flush your soil with pH 7 water mixed with half-strength dose of organic fertilizer. Leaves that become yellow in between the veins of the leaves with brown areas may indicate another nutrient deficiency. These other symptoms may be accompanied by stunted overall growth of the plant. The solution to this problem is essentially the same as that for a copper deficiency. Flush the soil with pH 7 water that has been fortified with a half-strength measure of organic fertilizer. The number one preventative measure for mineral or nutrient deficiencies is to make certain that you test your soil pH daily and keep it within the acceptable range for cannabis. Many nutrient deficiencies can be avoided with a proper soil pH that allows your plants to correctly absorb water-soluble nutrients. Over-fertilization. Nutrient burn, or nitrogen toxicity, is a common symptom of over-fertilization. This is evident by browning or yellowing tips of foliage that spreads to the entire leaf. In the case of nitrogen toxicity, leaves may show signs of clawing, a condition that causes leaves to fold upward. Some foliage may be a darker green, while some may turn yellow or brown at the tips. Nitrogen toxicity is often mistaken for overwatering, but diligent monitoring of soil moisture levels should rule that out as a cause. Any over-fertilization issues can be quickly resolved by leaching the soil with a half-strength solution of organic fertilizer 1 to 2 times daily for 3 to 5 days. Pay very close attention to your crop as harvest time approaches. The foliage naturally turns yellow and shows signs of a nitrogen deficiency as buds begin to grow and form. It is best not to fertilize during this final period. Light and heat damage. Additional common problems with your crop may be the result of light or heat burning. Light or heat burning is most evident in the leaves that are most directly exposed to the light or heat source, so pay attention to the pattern of damage or damage symptoms. Leaves that are closest to the light or heat source may show signs of stress, such as yellowing or browning, and may actually appear burnt altogether. Excess heat causes the edges of leaves to turn up or curl, and may cause the entire plant to wilt. These problems are easily corrected by immediately lowering the temperature of the growing environment, ensuring proper moisture content in the soil, increasing air circulation, and moving light and heat sources away from the affected plants. If this happens to your growing operation, reevaluate your heat sources and light sources and make permanent corrections as needed. It is also important to regularly check the distance that your lights are from the tops of your plants. That distance changes frequently as your plants grow closer to the light, so a lapse in vigilance can result in some cooked cannabis.
Marijuana Growing Mastery. Complete guide to advanced marijuana growing methods and techniques. Marijuana growing marijuana indoors. Written by Clydebank Alternative. Narrated by Tom Collins. Introduction. Please note there is a companion PDF that is included with the purchase of this audiobook. Due to the nature of this content, we highly recommend you reference this companion PDF while or after you listen to this audiobook. If you did not receive the companion PDF when you purchased this audiobook, please contact us at support@clydebankmedia.com. This is not an audiobook for beginners. We pick up here where the previous audiobook in the series, Growing Marijuana for Beginners, left off. If you have not already listened to this audiobook, you can purchase it via Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. At this point, you should either have a harvest of cannabis buds under your belt, or you should be thoroughly researching the topic before starting. Otherwise, pick up the beginner's guide to get started learning about the rewarding and profitable world of cultivating cannabis. Growing a houseplant or grabbing a shrub for your yard from the local home and garden center isn't too difficult, and cannabis is a versatile crop that can survive under a variety of conditions. That's all well and good, but you're cultivating cannabis with a purpose. Whether you are growing to build a for-profit sales empire or are growing for yourself, this is every reason not only to make your plants thrive, but flourish. Simply surviving might work for plants in the yard or a fern in the corner, but when it comes to your cash crop, you want to squeeze every ounce of performance out of each and every plant. The concepts in this audiobook are more complicated than those presented in the beginner's guide. They also build on the framework that the beginner's guide lays down, so pick up a copy of Growing Marijuana for Beginners today and start your journey there. If you've already listened to that audiobook and put it to good use, then you're ready to take your cannabis cultivation to the next level. What you will learn. Inside this audiobook, you will find the advanced secrets to growing hardy, strong, and potent cannabis plants that pack a THC punch. Growing potent plants isn't the only thing that growers have to worry about. Concealment, ventilation, and nutritive needs are just the beginning of the care that your marijuana plants will need to start growing money on trees. This audiobook reveals the secrets to running an effective and profitable growing operation, including how to set up advanced growing operations, tend to the needs of your plants in a much more meaningful way, and what to do once they are ready to be harvested. It covers all of the equipment and processes you need to know when you take your operation out of the closet and into a bigger space, and it covers all of the major elements of a successful and discreet growing operation. Disclaimer. By this point, you should know two things. The first is that the author and the publisher of this audiobook both strongly advise that prior to applying any of the knowledge found in this book, you review your region's legislation and understand the repercussions of failure to comply. The second is that the author of this audiobook is not a lawyer and cannot provide you with legal advice. No part of this publication should be considered as such. It would be exhaustive to accurately summarize the laws and regulations for each state and locality here. The responsibility of understanding and complying with established laws falls solely on your shoulders. The author of this publication or its publisher is not responsible for any legal repercussions that may result from the growth, consumption, or sale of marijuana. You know the drill. Let's get started.
And even though he says, let's get started, I don't like to have too long of a video, but I'll let us get a notebook and ready for this mastery class. That'll be tomorrow's video. But I am so appreciative that you are here today. Please hit that like and subscribe button so we can continue our journey on growing marijuana. Please be kind to one another. Life is way too short. Bye-bye.